Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for January 28th, 2016. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss, with your analysis for today's session. What we have here is obviously a downtrending market here where prices have basically found a near-term bottom. They found a near-term bottom here, and bulls have attempted to keep this thing bid for a shot at seeing a reverse higher. However, prices have gotten very, very heavy here recently, and we haven't seen much momentum above the previous week's high and above 1900 in general. Instead, those areas have been offered and prices kind of held back below those zones. And in a downtrending market, when this happens here, you see prices trying to go up, but they're not really going. That tells you that there's a lot of buyers that came in here in order to defend to get prices to go up, and now they are at risk at having their downside sell stops run. So any push down below and through 1846 could spark a major selling event here where we could see a further continuation to the downside into targets as low as 1746, the next CLVN ahead. Now, obviously, prices have been building within a very narrow range over the last 5 sessions, so a breakout in either direction could spark steady movement here, so watch the boundaries very closely. If we drop into the lower time frame here, you'll actually notice that prices are being offered at 5-day VPOC. Here it is, 1890s, and you can see they've been offered here over the last couple of sessions. So that right there is an early indication that we should be looking to sell pullbacks for a push lower. 1865, a major key level there, MC VPOC in a higher time frame, came in and served as support the previous session. That area could continue to be bid short term, but below it opens the door to major retest of previous lows. Here's a daily chart of crude oil. Obviously, we've been watching this one very closely because it's been trending lower. The recent pullback here has shown similar signs to the ES where buyers have come in to try and seal prices here above 30 to 14 and just above the 29 halves here. But what you see is basically price getting heavy as well, like the ES, but is currently testing the upper portion of that range. And above 3303, as you recall, I mentioned last evening, 3303 is a very important key level here. And above that zone opens the door to a retest here back toward value at 3781, which is the last HVN that we saw before we sold off. So right now, if we see expansion out of this range, 33 up, 29's down, we could see some significant movement. Right now we're testing the top of the range and we're currently holding just above 3204, which is MC VPOC. That could be very important and could give us a tell for future price movement. So again, above 3303 squeezes at least back to 3525 with a likelihood of getting back to 3788. All right, taking a look at the intraday time frame for crude oil. What you see right now is price holding near highs, but not getting any traction above the previous session's high, 32.84. Seeing returns lower off of that zone after failing to hold above it. But you also see an uptrending market, and I would say any pullbacks here offer an opportunity to buy for another round of strength. Failure to hold above 32.04 will be the kicker, and that one could lead to a move back to 5-day VPOC, which is 31.10. Okay. Taking a look at gold here in a higher time frame, you see gold continuing the pattern we've been talking about, the saucer bottom, the pullback buying opportunity, the squeeze here through 1110, and any pullback to 1110 offers an opportunity for a continuation higher. We have a double confluence up top for the top of the range at 1169.70, so we could be looking at a move and a continuation to that end in the upcoming month because we just reached the primary, and we are very close to reaching the secondary monthly ADR target, and that tells us right there that we've basically moved about average of what you've seen on a range basis for a month. So this is an average move on an average range basis on the monthly ADR. So right now that tells us we've moved about as much as we're going to move this month, and now we have to gear up for the next move heading into February. So right now, 11, 13, 10 is the key zone to watch short term. Bulls want to defend for a continuation. Failure to hold that level opens up a return to 1084.80. Okay, taking a look at the NQ now. Here's the NQ in a daily time frame. We see the impulse move down, and then we saw a big push higher, but we didn't quite get to the 50% zone. And this rejection right here led to a pullback. This pullback held short term, and then we saw price go offered here at 42.26, which is our key level. That led to a move downward in the previous session and a close that was lower than the previous low. So that's important. We're seeing a pattern here of lower lows and lower highs over the last few sessions, and right now what we've seen is a lower high in overnight trading, but we haven't seen the new low. So the expectation would be, given the recent trend here, short term we're likely going to see a dip into 40.72. That's going to be an important area there. That's the last line of defense for bulls here, is to defend 40.72 for a shot at seeing a continuation higher. I think any close below that level really opens up the floodgates for another round of big time selling pressure, because failure to hold that LVN at least opens up the move into 39.65, but more than likely we're likely going to get down into the next key range expansion target, which is 38.93.5. Okay, taking a look at the intraday time frame here. Again, what you see here is just kind of the pattern of downtrending price behavior, holding up here and then seeing price get offered, attempting to get new highs and failing, and seeing price go offered. So this is more of the same. Again, I think this is the key line to watch right here, 41.33. You can see how there was an attempt to hold below it, and then price squeezed above it. When it came back, it held short term. So that's the short-term pivot to watch intraday. Bulls want to keep this thing bid for continuations higher. Failure to hold above that level opens up a retest of 4100 with a shot to see lower price levels. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out the rest of the session. Good luck and trade well.